So I want to elaborate a little on the issue of balance that Destiny 2 is trying to go for in the sequel, because Bungie's going about it all wrong in this motherfucker. Now, in the beta video, I mentioned that the issues the game will have briefly. I didn't get a chance to go into it fully. I also mentioned that the YouTube auditor can go fuck himself, but that's another story. But I mentioned it briefly. However, that video was already going to be long enough, so I figured, you know what, I was going to explain it a little bit better down the road. Now, no matter what game you play online, Destiny, Call of Duty, Overwatch, League of Legends, Halo, Madden, playing against other players and having to figure out balance in a competitive environment is an impossible task. No matter how you try to do it, no matter how many attempts studios make at altering the gameplay, balance is an illusion. It's like trying to take an up-close picture of the horizon. It's like trying to make yourself see the wind. It's like trying to make sense of Donald Trump's presidency.
Terrible, man.
It's something that does not fully exist. You know it's there. You know you may get close to your goal, but in the end, balance in video games is never truly possible. Unless you give everyone the same generic gun, remove any kind of perk or power, strip all variety out of the game, creating the most dull piece of shit on the planet, and having dedicated servers, variety in a competitive game is always going to lead to unbalanced items. Destiny is no different, and the changes that Bungie is making for Destiny 2 shows the studio is going down the rabbit hole of a never-ending series of changes that's going to lead to patches and balance altering. And the gun system is going to be part of that. You know, the game is already inherently going to be unbalanced, if you will. You know, with each subclass, you're going to have some natural advantages over another. A Titan will have natural help in an objective game. A golden gun would be a natural deterrent in some type of elimination game. Warlocks will naturally annoy the fuck out of me when they're an ass hair away from dying and they blink over a fucking wall of safety. So with Bungie's logic of how to balance an inherently unbalanced game, their idea is to remove the amount of choices and probabilities we had in Destiny 1. Let's not let Sunsingers create a class when they could burn the fuck out of the world and resurrect themselves after they're dead. Let's not let Titans run around with a protective condom bubble, making them damage resistant and allowing for a one-hit shoulder charge once they get close to a motherfucker's face. Let's give Night Stalkers essentially 2 grenades at one time with an invisibility grenade allowing for poison. Instead, we'll keep all of their abilities limited to the sets we allow them only now. So now, instead of having your choice of whether you want your Nova Bomb to track enemies or move faster, they have sets that are already created for you that will dictate how you play. You can't choose no longer between a longer shoulder charge time or the protective condom. Now it's already chosen for you. Same logic applies to the guns. Remember when the Suros ruled the first Iron Banner? Y'all remember that one? Those who actually played that shit? Or when the Thorn, Last Word, and Hawkmoon rules the first Trials of Osiris? Or Fellwinter's Lie, the best fucking sniper rifle in the game, but the fucking thing was only a goddamn shotgun. Then it was the Doctrine of Passing, then the Might of Multitool, Grasp of Malak, Nerwin's Mercy, Thousand Yard Stare, Matador, and Palindrome. You get the fucking idea, right? All those guns at some point ruled the Crucible through various balance patches, changes to the game. Each one experienced the height of power at some point. The exotic guns were all set in their perks, but the legendary guns came with any random rolls, and you could make those shits amazing. If you got the God roll on Fellwinter's Lie with Hammer Force and Shot Package, game fucking over. That's it. Go home. The party is finished for the night. I mean, you could nail a motherfucker with crazy distance with just one shot, and that was the main killer of the game. Other legendary guns went through their phases of god rolls, like Nerwin's Mercy and the Palindrome. You could buy a damn good Palindrome right at the fucking vendor. You remember when reforging was allowed, and you were getting an Aphrodite Spear with final round, and that was the great dickish weapon. I'm not gonna lie, I had 3 of those shits. I had one in each flavor. I had a Solar, I had an Arc, and I had a Void in this motherfucker, man. And no matter how long Bungie balanced the game, no matter what weapons they buffed, they gimped, there was always a gun with a great set of perks that topped all the others. So I get Bungie's logic right now. Instead of having legendary weapons potentially roll great perk sets, now they give them set perks. No more chance of the god roll on the Fellwinter's Lie. No more farming Omnigo for the Grasp of Malak incessantly to try and land the perfect set of perks, or playing Iron Banner all week to get an amazing clever dragon. Now guns are set in their loadouts. And as I said in prior videos, I'm okay with this kind of change. I don't love it, I don't hate it, but I see the issue, and I already foresee how Bungie plans on balancing things in the future. And unfortunately, Bungie, it's still not going to work. With any competitive shooter game, There's always bound to be one or even a few guns that are head and shoulders above the rest. Call of Duty is one of the best balanced games when it came to their guns, but you knew the M16 and the MP5 were just a touch above the rest. Not much, definitely not godlike guns, but I mean, we're talking like a porn star's cunt hair above the rest, and you know porn stars are very particular about being hairless. And with any gun you're given, even with the most slightest advantage, that will be a gun a majority of people will flock to in the most competitive modes. If you had the tiniest advantage, yes, I want to use that particular weapon or gun. It's why Year 1 Trials was dominated by the 3 exotic hand cannons. It's why Year 2 started with Nerwin's Mercy and the Mitre Tool, and then eventually the Doctrine of Passing. Year 3 had the Clever Dragon and the Palindrome, among other weapons. So Destiny 1 went through their phases of gun dominance. Of the primary guns that went through their dominant phases, the exotics had set perks. Thorn, Hawkmoon, Last Word, Mitre Tool. Even the Doctrine was relatively set in the perks since it was a Trials of Osiris reward weapon, but the others had their chance for better roles. No matter how balanced you believe the game will be, there's always going to be a gun or two that stand out. They're always going to have advantages over some other ones. Either they'll have advantage over every weapon in the game or the majority of them. Their disadvantages will be limited. And when you have a gun or two that stands out, that's the gun people will take. Because if an ultra competitive game is on the line, do you think someone's going to fuck around and take the shittiest gun? No. If you see someone with equal skill as you, and they take what is perceived to be the most powerful weapon, are you going to say, let me take the shittiest one just to see if I can compete with this guy? No. You're going to take what's most likely going to be a powerful weapon that you know how to use. That's just how all games are. That's how every competitive game has ever worked. So limiting our power sets per character means people will find the best power set to use, and they'll use that one. Limiting the rolls on guns means people will just find which couple of guns are the best ones in the game, even with the set rolls, and they're going to use those in the Crucible and Trials. Pushing all the trouble weapons to power weapons, like shotgun, sniper rifle, that still doesn't alter the fact people will still use the best one once you get the actual ammo for it. So while Destiny 1 gave us far more options to make ourselves stronger, it didn't give us variety when it came to competitive Crucible matches. It was just a matter of picking the best shit to play in that particular mode. Limiting our options isn't going to change that logic. People will still find the best subclass option. People will still find the gun that kills the quickest, the most efficient loadout in the game. That's not changing just because you're trying to put set perks on guns and characters. Bungie knows this, which is why I said how they're going to address the balance issues now. In Destiny 1, they always had an issue with balance fixing because they try to balance too much shit at one time. Oh, the Suros is overpowered, so we're going to nerf that motherfucker, and we're going to nerf auto rifles as well, effectively double nerfing the Suros. Into the fucking ground, no less. Y'all remember that shit? Once they fucking nerfed the goddamn Suros, you couldn't even use that shit. It was fucking useless. In addition to the Suros being overpowered, hand cannons suck. So, we're going to buff them, and we're going to buff the Thorn to make it the most annoying gun in the game. Shotguns went from awesome to shitty to awesome again to shitty to awesome again. It was just constant yo-yo effect. They were never balanced. They always went from being the best use in the game to one of the worst uses in the game. Fusion rifles sucked, so they nerfed them even more to suck even more. I don't get that shit, man. They just had no clue what to do with fusion rifles. The Mythic class. Oh, man, y'all remember that one? That came out by far and away the most overpowered gun in the game. Those who were lucky enough to get that out of the raid the first time that they actually played it, they had a bad motherfucker. So, let's nerf it. And let's also nerf fusion rifles into the ground. They turned it into utter shit. Then aside from exotics, you had the legendary weapons and their perks. Shot package needed to be removed entirely from the game. Final round needed to be removed entirely for the game. Guerrilla warfare does absolutely nothing. Icarus was fucking useless. Certain archetypes of guns had advantages over guns in their same class. You remember the 1,000-yard stare? Without question, the best sniper during its time. Low-impact snipers didn't have enough power to kill people when they revived their friends. Shotguns needed distance and impact, which is why you saw more Matadors and Party Crashers than, say, a spammer shotgun like Deidre's Retort or the limited-range shotguns like the Fourth Horseman. There were too many options, too many permutations for Destiny and Bungie to keep up with. Not anymore. Now, they don't have to worry about all the long-range shotguns. They could just focus on one gun that might be an issue. Matador with crappy perks isn't a horrible problem, but the Matador with a god roll, now that's an issue. Now, they can just work on the Matador without fucking up the other guns. Now, instead of having to worry about the Shadow Price and Grim Citizen and then worrying about other auto rifles, hey, let's just work on the Doctrine of Passing. Let's just work on the spammer auto rifles because they're a little touch overpowered right now. As I mentioned, the Suros double nerf, Now they can just focus on one gun. Now, if the double anal penetrator gun is overpowered, or whatever the fuck they want to call these things, they can just buff that one. They can just tweak individual pieces as opposed to going over the entire classes and having to worry about the perks that are on certain guns. Hammer Forge had to be removed from the game because it was far overpowered. Final Round had to be removed because it was so fucking annoying to see someone shoot off 2 or 3 shots and then you have one final bullet that can fucking body shot you and kill you. That shit was fucking annoying. They can tell now off the bat if it's the arch type of the gun and you see the same 2 or 3 type of weapons killing everybody over and over and over again, like certain pulse rifles like that were in the Nerwin's Mercy family of the class, they knew those whole weapons were outperforming everyone. You don't have to fuck with all the guns again. Towards the end of Destiny 1, Bungie finally got that. They finally started to understand what people were talking about for 3 fucking years. But because they started the game with random rolls, that process continued. That never-ending chase of balance continued to happen. In Destiny 2, they understand that they don't want to have to do all that type of balancing. Let's just limit it. It's still not going to change the logic. Like I said, people are still going to pick the most overpowered shit. But at the very least, they have a lot less balancing to do in Destiny 2 and more to focus on just some of the regular content. With the sequel, it's obviously a fresh start. It's their choice to do that. I get it. If a subclass or a set of perks or gun is off, now they can individually tweak the problem as opposed to fucking over the whole game. Will it change how people approach overpowered shit? Absolutely not. But at the very least, they'll have a lot less balancing to do in the future. It's not going to change Destiny 2. It's not going to make it balanced because, as I said, it's already an unbalanced game. But at the very least, at the very minimum, they knew they had issues with Destiny 1, so they made the change for Destiny 2. So you have to at least acknowledge the fact that they are learning from their mistakes. They couldn't completely balance Destiny 1, so okay, fuck it. That system didn't work entirely. Let's try something different. So they're trying something different. Who knows? We'll see if it actually works in Destiny 2. I'm not going to be critical of it completely yet. I'll wait till I see the game. I'll wait till I actually play in the Crucible as much as I hate that shit. But I'll at least still give it a chance to see what the full game is like. Then I'll start ripping Bungie a new asshole. Anyways, I believe I'm going to post up just one more video on Destiny 2 before the actual release of the game. I got to talk about the clans and all that other shit, how to join prestige gamers and all that crap, because obviously we're going to run some raids and some content and shit like that once the game starts releasing. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in the next video.